Today's episode is the first of hopefully many more episodes to come. We're going to do a new product series. Listen in as we cover a new tool that was recently released that you might be interested in. Also, we added a new member to our expert council. Wait till you find out who it is.
Don't hang up that phone. We've found what you're looking for. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cabling podcast with Chuck Bowser, RCDD. Well, seeing how we're pulling Category 6A, the most powerful twisted pair in the world, you got to ask yourself this one question. Did I pull 295 or 300 feet? Well, do you feel lucky? Do you, punk? In this podcast, you'll learn the differences between a 66 and 110 punch tool, the proper way to install a support cable, along with testing and certifying the cable. What exactly does RCDD stand for? Registered Communications Distribution Designer. Just the expert you need to ensure your cable plant performs exactly as designed. The elite professional, knowledgeable, and experienced in leading-edge ICT design principles. So join us as we talk about the ever-changing world of telecommunications. From ISP to OSP, from copper to fiber, design to installation. Now, send the new guy to the truck for a bucket of dial tone and the cable stretchers, while you listen to an informative program on telecommunications.
Welcome to the show where we tackle the tough questions that are submitted by you, the ICT installer, the project manager, the estimator, sometimes even IT personnel, and sometimes even customers. On this show, we connect at the human level so that we can connect the world. If you're listening to this show on some podcast platform, would you mind giving us a 5-star rating? If you're watching this on YouTube, would you mind subscribing to the channel and then also commenting and liking this video? Those small little steps helps us take on the algorithm, which helps us get this content out to more people. Help us educate more people in the ICT industry. Also, don't forget our After Hours series, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, broadcast on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, where you get to submit your questions to your favorite RCDD, well, that would be me, to be answered on the show, right? And if you happen to miss that show, it's okay. They are recorded so you can consume that content at your discretion. By the way, there is no After Hours Live this Thursday because Chuck will be traveling. So make sure you send your questions to questions@letstalkcabling.com or send it to me via LinkedIn Messenger or some other type of comment on one of the other platforms. Oh, by the way, did you know we're on TikTok now? So look us up on TikTok, where we do shorts for all kinds of stuff. Just did it one day or so ago about 560 a day versus 568B. Also, please consider signing up for our newsletter. Our newsletter is a great way to learn about all the new content that's coming out. You can also help support the podcast by becoming a Patreon member, going to our Amazon link page and purchasing stuff through there or through one of our other ones. Also, make sure that you participate in our daily acronym challenge. It's done every weekday morning at 8:10 a.m., where I post an acronym, and then I give you 4 potential answers. Make sure to feel free to also send it to a friend, so that way we can see how smart they are as well. And if you don't know the answers, I do the answers on Saturdays. Let's get on with the show. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the new member that we're adding to our expert council. I am truly, truly excited about bringing this person on board. I've known him through mutual acquaintances, but I've never really actually met him. Our new expert council member is Phillip Klingingsmith. Phillip Klingingsmith has been a Bixby member for 34 years. He's been a master instructor for over 20 years. He was an employee of AT&T for 27 years. And he knows a lot of stuff. He can wax poetic on everything from phantom circuits to free space optics. So he's going to be a great addition to this channel, and I'm super excited to have him aboard. Phillip, I'm glad you agreed to be a part of this. Now, make sure also on my Let's Talk Cabling family, make sure you give him some warm love on LinkedIn. Look him up on LinkedIn and send him a friend request or send him a message, tell him thank you for being a part of the Expert Council. So we are starting a new series where we're going to go and evaluate newly released tools, connectors, anything of interest to the ICT installer, designer, or project manager. Now, hopefully when you use this and you'll listen to our input, you'll be able to make a better and more informed decision. If you have a company that has something that you would like to be evaluated, make sure you email me and let's talk about it. Just keep in mind that I will not just give you a warm and welcome evaluation if I don't truly think it's a good product. If you send me the product to look at, I will give it an honest evaluation. Okay, I'm not going to guarantee a 15-minute, hey, look at this new product because you guys sent me something. I'm going to look at this product through the eyes of the installer. I'm going to tell you the good. I'm going to tell you the bad. I'm going to tell you about anything about this item that I think might be of interest to you. Also, make sure you listen to the end of the show so you can hear how you can actually win this toner and probe kit. You see it sitting there on the back of my desk. Today, we're looking at Trend Networks toner and probe set. Their new one, model number R1840. So it's really long. Now, you might be leery about buying a tool from a product from a company that you may have heard of before, Trend Networks. But that's okay. Trend Networks, before they were Trend Networks, they used to be a company that you might have heard of called Ideal Networks. Now, Ideal Networks has been around for a long time, and they've been known to produce quality products, right? So in this exercise, we're going to evaluate this toner and probe set. We're going to look at the packaging. We're going to look at the quality. We're going to look at the usability, the options. We're going to compare prices, and so much more. Now, this kit came to me in a nicely packaged box. The toner and probe come in a pouch inside that box that you can easily move it out of the box. And you can attach it to your belt on the side. So when you're working in a telecom room, toning out closets, that toner and probe will be right there at your side. The tool package is pretty durable and has a divider inside of it to help keep your toner and probe and the cords organized neatly. Because the more organized you are, the better and more efficient you can be as an installer. The zipper seems like it will last the lifespan of the tool, and also on the back of the belt loop, they have it attached together with Velcro. Now it's wide enough so that even if I use it with my double leather concealed weapons permit belt, it'll fit in there. So it's pretty wide, so it should be able to fit your belt as well. My only concern though is the Velcro. When it gets fiber inside of the hook and loop, or it gets older, it loses its stick. Now, because of where this Velcro is, that may not be an issue because it's going to be behind your belt. But I think I would have liked to have seen it without the Velcro strap as myself. Now, I don't think this is going to be an issue, but like I said, the only way to really tell is to put it on your belt and carry it for months and months at a time. Now, let's look at each one of those components separately, starting with the probe. Now, the probe comes with a replaceable tip. It is a non-metallic tip, and I like that fact that it's non-metallic. Because I've used probes in the past where they had metallic tips, and they've shorted out things before. Shorted out stuff inside of equipment. They shorted out connectors on terminals and caused stuff to happen. So I like the fact that it's non-metallic, especially when those two things are right behind that. Right behind that tip is my favorite part of the probe. There's a little LED light, so you can actually push a button on the top of the probe and activate that LED light, and it'll light up exactly what it is you're trying to tone. Now think about this. How often have you worked in a telecom room where it was dark, right? If you haven't worked in a dark telecom room yet, just wait. You will be shortly, because quite often they have temporary power, and because of that, the lighting really dim and it sucks. Now there's another LED light at the tip that also indicates the strength of the actual tone that it's picking up. The closer the probe gets to the tone, the brighter the LED gets. Now this is a really cool little function because it's going to be good for those noisy environments where, like, for example, like a construction site where you're trying to tone out cables and you can't hear it over people using hammer drills and everything else going on. So you can actually kind of watch it. It's also good when you're running multiple toners. That way when you get not only an audio but a visual verification that your probe, not your partner standing next to you, is the one actually picking up the signal because that LED light is going to get stronger. There's also a volume control on the side that allows you to basically turn that volume up or turn that volume down when you're working in, for example, like an existing office space. Or better yet, you're testing a toner and probe and your wife is doing an interview on a podcast not that far from you. Yeah, you might want to turn it down just a little bit more, right? There is a high output speaker on the probe at the very rear of it, and it does put out pretty loud sound when you have it turned up all the way. It also comes with a portable carrying strap that will easily fit around your wrist. So that way you can avoid dropping your probe and damaging the tip or damaging your probe itself. Now, that little strap fits around my big old meat hook of a wrist, and I'm a big old corn-fed country boy. So if it fits around mine, I know it'll fit around yours. The one thing that this probe did have on it that I cannot recall seeing on other probes, on toner probe sets, is it has a 3.5 millimeter jack on the side of it. So that way you can plug in your ear jacks from your cell phone and not even be disturbing people in the office. Unless you're like me and you have an iPhone. For some reason, iPhone moved away from the 3.5 millimeter jack for their headsets. Don't know why they did that, but they did. So if you got an iPhone headset, it ain't going to work. But it will work with 3.5 millimeter jacks. Now, the probe operates on a 9-volt battery, and according to the instructions, yes, I did read the instructions, it indicates that it can run up to 50 hours of operation. So you're not going to be replacing this battery too often. Now let's move to the toner. Now, my old toner had 2 leads, one with a set of alligator clips and the other with an RJ11 that were hardwired to the toner. Now, on this particular toner, it actually has an 8P8C connector, or RJ45, a female version of that connector on the actual toner. And then the kit comes with 2 leads, one with alligator clips and the other with an 8P8C to an RJ11. That way you can just choose between the 2. Now, the advantage here is if something gets inside, it gets damaged, you don't have to go out and replace the whole toner. You can just actually replace just those kits or just those jumpers. You could either just connect the pins to the connector or strip the dielectric off of the conductor and attach the alligator clips. Now, I wish that the alligator clips had those little pads with the spikes on it, so that way you can clip on an existing conductor, and by pressing on the alligator clip, you can actually make contact with the conductor without actually stripping the conductor. That's one thing it didn't have that I wish that it did, because that's a good way to tone out a cable without actually cutting and stripping it off. At the tip, there's an L1 and L2 status indicator to tell you if there's any line voltage present when you attach the toner to the cable that you're trying to tone out. I love this feature because as a person who's burnt out more than one LED light on testers, I can tell you, if it's got voltage on it, it's going to cause you a problem. Now, here's a tip. When you attach that toner, make sure that the toner is turned off. That way, when you first connect it, you'll see those lights come on, and that'll tell you that there's voltage there, and you may want to make sure that you find out what that voltage is so you can turn it off. As with other toners, you can also test with continuity with that. And by testing continuity, not only do you get the visual signal, you also get an audio signal, which I think is pretty cool. Now, depending on how many ohms are present on that short, when you're trying to test for continuity, it'll give you different readings. So you can tell basically how many ohms of resistance are on that cable. Good cues when you're trying to troubleshoot cabling. Now, the toner is going to give you the ability to also have a talk path with the power supply, using the toner as a power supply. This toner has the ability basically to select between 2 different audible patterns, which is really great when you're toning out cable, especially if you got 2 crews toning cables at the same time. That way one can use one tone and the other can use the other tone. But since they're using 2 different tones, you can tell whose tone is the one that's actually being recorded or being seen. If you're toning cables, you have more than 1 crews, you should have been a little bit more diligent with your labeling, just saying. There's also a low battery indicator on both the toner and the probe, and the toner will auto off in about 3 hours if you forget to turn it off or if you're not using it. The battery also lasts in the toner for 70 hours of operational time. So the toner probe set comes with batteries, and the thing that I really like with that is it has a little protective cover over the batteries when they ship them to you, so that way they don't short out or they don't touch something and cause the toner to the batteries be dead by the time you get it. I really like the fact that it came with the batteries and they were protected during that shipment. The kit does come with 2 instruction sheets, right? One instruction sheet for the toner, the other instruction sheet for the probe. Now, the instruction sheets are pretty thorough. They go through everything, and they cover lots of different languages. So for my international audience, this is good for you. And it goes pretty detailed on how to do everything, how to manage it, how to turn it on, and most installers should not have any problem or issue with reading and understanding those things. If you happen to lose those instructions, you can actually download the instruction manuals in PDF form off of their website, which I thought was kind of cool. Now, that's not unusual because a lot of companies do that, but some don't. Because the first thing that gets lost is always the instructions. Now, there's a couple things that I think Trend Networks could have done to make this toner and probe just a little bit better. And since the tip of is a replaceable tip, I think that they should have, when they ship it to you, they should also ship you a second tip as well. Because things just happen on a job site, right? Things get dropped sometimes. And have you ever heard of an apprentice, right? Apprentices, need I say more? Yes. Now, another thing, make the wrist straps a little bit beefier so that way they're a little bit more resilient. Because like I said, mine broke on me the very first time I put it on. And it came off. Now, the kit that I'm going to give out is the exact one that has the broken one. So if you win this toner and probe, I will make sure that I include a Let's Talk Cabling podcast sticker to help that. And then finally, the last thing, the instructions. I wish that the print could have been a little bit bigger and the font could have been a little bit darker. So help us old guys help read those instructions. Not everybody is a young person trying to read instruction manuals. Sometimes it's us old guys. And even if we are wearing our glasses, it still be kind of hard. Now, finally, let's talk about the pricing. I did compare the toner and probe kits to others. Now, the manufacturer's suggested retail price for this one is $115. The other kits of this quality range between $80 and $229. Just doing a quick glance search on Amazon. So that right there is going to tell you that this is right in the middle of the pack. There were some toner and probes beneath that $80 mark, but those manufacturers I never heard of before, and they look kind of cheap. So when you're buying tools, it's really good to make sure that you buy one where you get your money's worth. When you buy a tool, make sure you buy one that's going to last a lifespan. And I think this kit is a quality tool that's going to make your financial investment worthwhile. It's going to be, if it's reliable as any of the other products that I've had of theirs in the past, it will last you a lifespan. So make sure that you consider buying this. Now, if I were in the market to buy one of these, I would buy one for my toolkit. Now, early on in the show, I did mention that there was a way that you could actually win this particular toner and probe set. Right? Now, since I broke the wrist strap, like I mentioned earlier, during the testing process, I will throw in that Let's Talk Cabling podcast sticker, as I mentioned, just kind of make up for it. But the toner is in as new condition. Now, in order to win this tool, there are 3 things that you're going to have to do. First, like this video. If you're listening to some podcast, go to our YouTube channel and then like the video. 2, put a comment in this video. Say something, I don't know, cool, right? Or a question. And then the third thing you got to do is sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter comes out once a week and helps you keep abreast of all new content that's being published, whether it's going to be a Monday podcast or an after hours live series. Until next time, be safe.